how to do front 360s or front full, which is basically a front flip with a full twist. This is a continuation of the brandy or the front flip 180. It's just another half turn added to the flip. Now you have to remember when you're doing these flips, if you look back to the regular front flip, when you do a front tuck, you're in a pretty tight ball shape. But if you look at these, as you start to twist, your body has to be a little bit more open. If you're tucked, it's very hard to do your front flip with a twist. So start working on front tucks in a more open body position. Now, silly me here forgot to actually film an open front tuck, but you'll get the general idea by looking at this guy up here. Now, it's called an open front tuck because you never actually grab your knees, as you can see here. And in this position, this is probably the most I'll be in a ball shape, in that tuck shape. The rest of the flip is pretty open. You just keep the arms close and tight to your body, you know, that center of gravity, so that you can rotate better. So we're going to start out with some small progressions. First, we're going to do the front half with a quarter added to it, and then we'll do the front full. Okay, so we have our first step, which is the front half. We've already talked about this. You have your brandy. Now the next step is to take that brandy that you're turning around 180 degrees, and then from here, you're just going to add another quarter turn, and that would make it your 3/4. So let's get on to that step. Okay, so step 2 is your front 3/4. And this is basically the same thing as your brandy, your front 180, but you're just adding another 90 degrees to that twist. It's a little bit more difficult than it looks, so we're going to break it down in slow motion. Alright, so you start off like a regular old front flip. As you lead into your front 180, or that brandy, you're going to continue that rotation, but once you hit the stopping point for that half, you're not going to stop your rotation. You're just going to add a little bit more rotation to that flip. And then as you come to your landing, make sure you straddle your legs for more balance, and that way you don't go shooting and flying off in some crazy direction. Moving on to step 3. This step is almost self-explanatory if you understand the front 3/4, but this gives you your full twist by just adding a little bit more. So it's kind of like a simple progression. You do your half, and then you do your 3/4, and then you do your full. So you're just adding a little bit more rotation to every time you try this flip. Eventually you're going to come around and make that full turn, but we're going to break it down in a little bit more detail. You always start the same, and as we talked about in step 1, you hit that brandy, and then step 2 you lead into that 3/4 mark. The only difference here is you're hitting it a lot higher and a lot faster because the speed of the rotation has increased in order for you to be able to pull that extra 90 degrees of twist and finish facing forward, which gives you your full. Alright, so when you're adding this extra quarter turn to your brandy, so you're here and you're going to your 3/4 mark, make sure that you're continuing the same direction. Now this is pretty easy when you're just standing up, but when you're upside down, rotation gets a little tricky. So don't overthink it. Half first, and then that little quarter turn. Now the reason that I emphasize continuing the same direction so much is because a lot of people make this mistake when you're first starting out. You'll do your half, and then you're thinking about that full so much you would just want to come back to the same direction you started, because you start and finish facing that same direction. So people will go half and then pull back, and they're like, yeah, I just did a full. And it's like, no, you didn't. So continuing in the same direction. All right. In review, after our front flip, we have our brandy, and then once we have that down, we are going to add a little bit more rotation, and then we have our front 3/4, and then the next step is a little bit more aggressive twist, which gives you that front full. Alright, so that's it. That is your front full. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it is a very difficult skill,
it is a blind landing, and if you actually watch a couple of trampolining routines, which I recommend you do, pay attention to their flips. When they actually do a forward flip, they don't land facing forward because of that blind landing. It's harder to control, but it's an important skill to have. So, with that said, I'm going to leave you guys with a little something right here. If you guys please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. This helps not only me, but more people learn trampolining because I love it and I want you guys to love it. Alright? With that said, I already said that. I'm gonna disappear. Alright, let's cut this green screen nonsense.